Probably talking to the mic. That wasn't very fun. Hey, everybody. Knicks just got their rear ends handed to them by the crosstown team that has not been able to get out of their own way this season, but seems to have found some life, found some good vibes, found some whatever they found now that crazy Kyrie is away and they have righted the ship. They're playing defense. They are sharing the ball and looking good around what is still very clearly one of the 3 or 4 best players in the world. And we don't really care about any of that because this is a Knicks post-game podcast, and I certainly could not care any less about what is going on in Brooklyn. But I do want to at least point out, they look good. They played well tonight. And a lot of guys who don't usually hit shots. And I think that definitely contributed to what we saw, which was, again, an undeniable ass kicking. Because when Kevin Durant has it going and Kevin Durant's teammates are just doing the bare minimum of what they're supposed to do, you could look really good. Now, that roster around Kevin Durant, even as great as Kevin Durant is not a roster that should be beating anybody by whatever. I don't even care what the final score was. But, going up by 25 in the first half, going up by 30 or more in the fourth quarter. And the reason they were able to do that is because the Knicks did not show up tonight. And we're going to talk a lot about why the Knicks didn't show up tonight and who specifically didn't show up more than other people didn't show up. And whether, some of the one guy that did show up, at least as far as the stat sheet is concerned, does he deserve more blame? Does he deserve less blame? It's the freaking elephant in the room that never goes away. And I kind of just wish it would. Before we get to any of that, though, I will just start by saying the thing that sucks about this year already is that 11 games in, and it's just the vibes are already, on the whole, the vibes are already bad. Like they're 5-6. They're 1 game under 500. If you would have looked at their record before the season and you would have said, what are the Knicks going to be after 11 games? Any reasonable person, I think, would have been like, oh, they'll be about a game under 500. Maybe they'll be a game above. Maybe they'll be, 4-7. Probably wouldn't have been crazy to predict that they might have been 4-7. But I think most reasonable people would have looked at it and they would have said 5-6. So, as I sit here tonight and I try to make sense of a game that I think you probably just throw in the garbage for as much as like we could pick apart like guys that did not do the things that they were supposed to do, including, maybe the coach, because the coach is always going to get blamed for a loss like this, as he should, because they didn't show up. If he didn't show up, it's kind of going to be on the coach, especially since they didn't show up in Atlanta after the 18-minute mark. And in a sense, their defense didn't show up in Boston. So this is now 3 times in the last, whatever it is, 5 or 6 games that either they didn't show up at all, they didn't show up for a large portion of the game, or they didn't show up for half the court, half of the part of play. And then when you factor in the quibbles about his rotations and playing time and this and that and the other thing, it starts to add up. And but back to the vibes. It's interesting how I can sit here and I could say that this team is exactly what they're supposed to be, pretty much. And yet, like no one feels good about this. I don't feel good about this. You watching at home, listening tomorrow morning, you don't feel good about this. Nobody feels good about this. There is something about this team that is just, it's hard to feel great about. And I can't exactly put my finger on why that is. I mean, we all have like the obvious theories and things that we complain about and this and that. It's just, that's annoying. That's annoying because there are other teams around the league, and granted, the expectations are different than they maybe were for this Knicks team, but like where the vibes are immaculate, and that's just not the case here. And I don't know if that means anything. Maybe it means nothing. But more than anything else, that's kind of That's kind of my takeaway, big picture takeaway thought after this game, more than the fact that their defense was again broken in the first quarter, more than the fact that this offense for, like tonight looked incredibly clunky. And I think part of that was just guys not making shots. Again, I think to a certain extent, like when you have a team that shoots 30% or 31 or 32% from the field and like 25 or 26% from three, like that is what it is, right? It is what it is. And there's not much you could do about it. And this team certainly cannot survive a game where Jalen Brunson does not play well. I think that much has been established. But yeah, even aside from that, it's not just shots not going down. The vibes are not great. All right. I don't have anything else to say about this. Let's get to the super chats and see what people think, because I have a feeling chats are going to be all over the place tonight. But first, of course, I will read friendly reminder from our good friends at WynnBet. Download the WynnBet app or visit www.wynnbet.com to start winning. Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet $100, win $100. Download Bet Win. Hope you bet the Nets tonight. That's for shit sure. Feeling pretty good if you did, I'm sure. Okay. Let's get started. Jeremy E starts us off. I'm curious where this is going to go. As torturous as that game was to watch, especially the first half, at least I don't have to watch it 2 or 3 more times like Tibbs. I hate 30. 30, of course, is Julius Randle. I'll wait till I get a Randle-centric comment to go any further on that. I mean, a lot of us peg Jeff Van Gundy as the Tibbs whisperer. And I thought it was interesting when he said literally the most obvious fucking thing in the world in the fourth quarter when the Knicks were down by some ungodly amount of points, where he was like, the Knicks need someone who could generate efficient offense, like Kevin Durant generates efficient offense for the Nets. And it's so sad that he had to say that out loud, but at the same time, it's so true. And like Kevin Durant is one of the best, again, 5 guys in the world at being able to do that. But there's at least 20 other teams that have a guy that could do it pretty well, and the Knicks' best guy at it is Jalen Brunson, and he didn't have a great night tonight. He's allowed an off night, and then they have another guy who thinks he is capable of doing that, and that's Julius Randle. And you could make an argument he did it a little bit tonight, but at what cost? What did it cost, Thanos? Everything. All right. Forgotten NYC. Spell it out. NBA. Purgatory. Sad. Yeah. It's not a great look right now. NBA purgatory is not where you want to be. It feels like maybe where the Knicks are, but at the same time, look at the other teams that were supposed to be tanking, and they're, a lot of them are winning games. I don't know. There's a path out of it. I don't know if this front office is the one to get them there. I don't know if this coach is the one to get them out of there. Danny Gardner, what's going on, Danny? Some positives. I like this. Here we go. I needed this. Some positives. Made a nice run there in the third, but they just couldn't hit open shots. Amazing how much better the offense looks with Brunson and RJ as the focal points, with Randle just being a piece. I completely agree. I'll say this, and this is, Danny Gardner with one more. Randle being upset at being taken out was insane. Did Tibbs leave him in as punishment? Is it possible IQ's weight gain has messed with his shot? So quickly, I'll just say, I don't want to pile on quickly. Quickly's a wonderful player who does all the right things that you want for your team. Like him, believe in him, not selling any of my quickly stock. Got to make shots. You have to make shots. And he is the worst shooter in the rotation. And he's one of the worst shooters in the league, considering his position and what the average guard or combo guard does. He's just not getting any penetration. He's not hitting shots. He's not a good enough playmaker to make up for those deficits. And as good as his defense is, and it's very good, he's still a small guard. So as far as the Randle thing, yeah, I didn't see his reaction. Kevin Danishevsky, shout out Kevin, posted it in the Patreon chat, and I guess he bumped Obi on the way out or whatever. It's just yet another thing with Randle, like to try to figure out what's going on in his head, and is he happy? Is he disgruntled, or this and that and the other thing? As far as how well the offense flows, where he's just a piece, I think when you have a situation like the Knicks are in, where they are one of, at this point, just very few teams in the league that don't have a true star or something approximating a star. They don't even have like a De'Aaron Fox, on their roster. Or you want to go through some of the other teams with like a lesser star. Like they don't even have that. Like Jalen Brunson, I love him, but he's not that. It just has to be so crisp and so flawless at both ends in terms of your, here's that word again, your process and your execution. Can't afford to take bad shots. It just has to flow. It has to be smooth. And it's tough to do that when you don't have anyone to start the chain of dominoes. It's really hard. And I don't envy Tibbs from that perspective. At the same time, if you do give these guys spacing, if you give a guy like Brunson spacing and you give a guy like RJ spacing, and you're just like creative, and if your center is in there, at least your center who can't shoot, at least he's out there setting screens and like, doing stuff off the ball and moving around and all that jazz. Like you got a chance. You just got to be pretty perfect. And I say this knowing that offense has not been the problem this year. But I don't know. There's not a lot of easy answers right now. Thanks, Danny. Reverend John Ortiz, what's going on? The Knicks suck, but the Jets are still 6-3. Hashtag trade 30. Yes, JETS, Jets. Sam L. Feels like more of a get-right game for the Nets amidst all the chicanery. Nets have had a few get-right games recently. I know they lost to the Mavericks in a heartbreaker 2 nights ago, but they played well that game, and I think they won the previous 2. They're really good. They've looked really good since no Kyrie and since they fired Nash, or Nash left, or whatever the hell. I bet you the Nets are going to be just fine. And I know we had a whole conversation today on the pod with Matt Brooks about the inevitable trading of Kevin Durant. They're not a contender right now as currently constituted, because especially since Ben Simmons is a shell of himself, but like they go out there and be a good team like this. Anyway, plus the Knicks couldn't make shots. We were pacified by Brooklyn's shot making. Brooklyn made a lot of shots. Like Edwin Sumner is not going to usually go out and have that level of offensive game. Seth Curry's back. Seth Curry was not playing for a lot of this year. They just made everything. It happens. It's kind of like Boston, but at the same time, like Knicks defense wasn't doing him any favors either. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kev? This IQ thing isn't cute anymore. He's been one of the least efficient players in basketball. I'm willing to throw that game out. I hope Quentin Grimes starts on Friday. Yeah, so it's not just IQ. Let's also give some other blame where blame is due. Thank you for pulling up the box score here, Andrew. So Quickly was 1 for 8, 0 of 6 from deep. Cam Reddish, 0 of 7 overall, 0 of 4 from deep, went scoreless in 18 minutes. Started the game, only played 18 minutes. Derrick Rose, 0 of 4, including 0 of 3 from deep. Some of the most forgettable 11 minutes you'll ever see a player play. Something is up with Derrick Rose. And we haven't mentioned RJ Barrett's name yet. I mentioned Jalen Brunson didn't have a good game. He was 4 of 14, 1 of 5 from 3. RJ Barrett, 5 of 14, 2 of 4 from 3. His 3-point shot is actually now falling. A lot of bad stuff around the basket today. Sure enough, after I wrote a newsletter praising his shot making around the basket this year. Oops. Not great stuff from RJ around the rim today. Didn't look great. Janky AF. What's going on, Janky? Van Gundy. Wake me up when the Knicks trade for a star. Yeah. Also, Van Gundy. Why do Nets fans suck and not cheer for KD? Come on, Jeff. Get KD and come aboard. It's like, it's not like there's like any mystery to any of this anymore. That's the part that annoyed me this summer, and that's the part that still kind of annoys me now, which is that There's only one path forward for this team. It is the only path. There is no other possible path unless they get insanely lucky in the draft. And that's not reasonable to assume that is going to happen. They're trying to do it in a way that no one has ever really done it before. Not really. They are trying to do it in a way that no one has done it before, which is to start with no stars on your roster with zero chance of ending up with them in free agency. It's not an easy road to hoe. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? Everyone in detention except Mikhailik. I love it. These games scream we have no star and we've seen the Tibbs ceiling. Hashtag Bruncool. Hashtag Brundlefly. Yeah, I mean, Tibbs looked good 2 seasons ago, and he had Julius Randle playing at the level of a top 10 NBA player. And Tibbs has shown time and time again, if you give him a guy that I'm just looking at a couple Tibbs quotes here. I'll get back to that point in a second. So Tibbs said, just shows you how quickly things could change in this league, referring to the Nets, obviously. And then he said the loss was because of a compilation of things. One of them, low energy. Talked about how complete Durant's game was. I mean, Tibbs has never been shy about this, though. Tibbs is, when he first got here, I think he kind of openly pleaded for them to trade for a star in his own way. And when he's had a star player in his career, he's been a really good coach. He was a really good coach with Derrick Rose when he was healthy. He was a really good coach with Jimmy Butler when Jimmy Butler was healthy. In Minnesota as well, when Jimmy Butler was healthy in Minnesota, he was a good coach there before that things fell apart. And he was a good coach when Julius Randle was doing things. And in games when Jalen Brunson's been really good this year, he's been a good coach, right? When he doesn't have that, it's just things go to shit, But then again, how many coaches around the league are any different, Colin Reardon. What's going on, Colin? Cut the lead to 15, and the first play we run is a Fournier ISO. Tibbs needs to go. Lord have mercy. Offense and defense is pitiful. I mean, they were a middle-of-the-pack offense and defense going into this game. They were a middle-of-the-pack team going into this game. They couldn't hit shots tonight. Of all the things that I'm going to have a problem with tonight, it's not the decision to go to, Fournier when the lead got down to 15. You could quibble about this or that. It's like, again, it's like these are two conversations in one. The Knicks don't have a star and they need one, and until they get one, nothing really matters, has everything to do with the Tibbs criticism for running this play for this guy or that play for that guy. Like, he's trying to figure shit out. I'm not saying he's doing great with the answers that he's given us. He's not. But these are not ideal circumstances. I'll just say that. Slacker hero. I've seen enough. Fire Tom Thibodeau mercifully. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that tonight. His team didn't show up. That's on him. It's on him. Alex, wish his team would do the right thing for once and tank. Might be speaking my language, Alex. Roster is super uninspiring, as is Leon Rose's front office work and Tibbs' outdated coaching. Again, I don't know that I'd call it outdated. I think, is there a chance that he doesn't, he's not inspiring this team in the way that he needs to? Is there a chance that you're never going to get a different version of Randle under this coach and he needs to own that? Yeah, absolutely. Those things are real. As far as the front office and whether they should tank, I mean, look at the standings. The opportunity is there for them. We'll do a very quick standings check right now. But, it's early, obviously, and they're not going to do anything. I don't think they're going to tank, for what it's worth. I don't think this front office will ever even consider it. But, they have 5 wins. right now. There are 2 teams in the league with 2 wins, one of which is the Lakers. The Lakers are going to keep trying because they don't have their own draft pick. And then Houston is the only team that for sure right now is like they're going to keep sucking. The Kings are going to keep going for it. They're 3-6. The Warriors are 4-7. You know they're going to be better. And then you got OKC at 4-6. And OKC, yeah, they'll start their tankery, but like they already got 4 wins. Interesting. And then at the bottom of the East, you got Detroit, Orlando, and Charlotte. I like that Orlando team. I think they'll win a few games. Charlotte, I think they will go for it. Once Brunson comes, or once Ball comes back, I think Detroit, you're going to get a tanking year from Detroit. And then like Indiana's a team that everybody figured would win the least amount of games in basketball. They're 5-6. They almost beat Denver tonight. I was watching some of that game while the Knicks were getting their ass kicked. Like there's an opportunity here for them to tank. They're not going to take it though. They're not going to take it. Now maybe it's not up to them to take, but opportunities there. As I say that, I'm pretty sure they're going to win against Detroit. Pro Gills, what's going on, Pro Gills? Anything redeemable from this experiment? Why not some plays in the fourth with Cam as the first option just to see what they have? Hashtag another RJ missed layup. Yeah. Not great. Experimentation. I mean, I think he threw some different lineups out there. I mean, look, we've been begging for Randle and Obi together. He's given us a lot of Randle and Obi. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good. Tonight, again, they didn't hit shots, so I don't know what you draw from that. Cam, I mean, again, I've been defending Cam. I wrote another newsletter on Cam the other day. I think he's been playing really well on defense. Thought he played good on defense tonight. You can't stop Kevin Durant. You just got to make him work. This game was a reminder that as an offensive player, like the notion of Cam first option is probably not a real thing. I think maybe leaning into the 3-and-D role, but in order to do that, you got to make shots consistently. Now, granted, this was one off night. I'm not going to kill him for it. I don't know. What would that have meant? If Cam went off for a bunch of points in the fourth quarter, would that have really meant anything? I don't know. Maybe. Lunas, what's going on, Lunas? Lunas, am I right? Hashtag free Mikhailuk. Man, this team needs Grimes. His contested 3 at the end is such a tease. We had our worst shooting game. They had their best over it. That's fair. That's probably the most. That's a reasonable take. As far as Grimes, yeah, they need Grimes. And it's interesting, again, like Grimes, like there are 2 situations that just are utterly fascinating to me moving forward, and they are the 2 obvious ones. But the starting spot with Grimes and Cam, I don't think you can go back. I mean, please, God, don't go back to Fournier in the starting lineup. Like, it has to be either one of Grimes or Cam. Like, Grimes started a game last week, and now he's back, and he's healthy, and he's situational. Okay, is he situational because, again, he wasn't able to practice the last bunch of days, and, like, you want to get him back in the flow of things? We know Tibbs loves him. We know the organization values him. So there's not like there's a question about that. Is it like, this is they have, Grimes in the second year of a 4-year rookie contract, and they feel like he's the easiest guy to kind of mothball at the moment. Well, you play Fournier, some minutes through the 20 game mark, and then you hope when teams start to make trades, maybe you could get Fournier out of here and like not stick him on the bench until that time. Like, I don't know. And then the center position is just fascinating to me because I don't believe that they could generate efficient offense if there's a traditional center on the floor. And tonight didn't exactly prove me wrong, I don't think. CT Pittman, what's going on, CT? The only obvious question after tonight is it 2-1 or 1-2 for the week? Ugly game tonight, and I hope the stench doesn't linger into Friday night. Man, it's crazy to say this because it's now like the 3rd time this season where we're going into a game being like, oh, the Knicks have to win this game. Like, this is a must win. Like, we said it in game 2, right? We said it in game 2. Like, they can't start off 0-2 and lose their home opener to Detroit. We said it before the Philly game. And I think we're saying it right now, right? Like if they go home and lose to Detroit, who's like has looked like the worst team in the league, probably. I think they got smacked by Boston tonight. Like, you know, you could start to really that's a problem. It's too early for this shit. And then the OKC game, I'm officially worried about. OKC, they're good. They're good. Alex, what's going on? Is there a single bigger letdown than RJ? Hashtag bummer. He's not a letdown to me. He's playing about as how I expect him to play. I've been saying the same shit about RJ Barrett for 3 years. And every time I say this shit, I get met with these I don't even know to call it fantasies, like not like some fantasies are like what's the movie Andrew, help me out here, where the young Jennifer Connelly, where she went and David Bowie played the Goblin King. Labyrinth? Yeah, Labyrinth. Like, there actually being a Goblin King out there with like a giant land of mazes with little goblins running around and like Muppets and all that shit. That's more realistic than some of the projections that some of this people in this fan base had for RJ Barrett over the last 3 years. So I'm not surprised one bit by what I'm seeing from RJ this year. This is who he is. It's who he's always going to be, with incremental improvements. Forgotten NYC. Nick's biggest mistake was hiring Tibbs and going win now. That's a fair argument. Pivoting to win now without a win now team is organizational malpractice, purgatory in all caps. Yeah, I'll say it for the umpteenth time. They were 11-14. Randle was playing out of his mind. They could have traded Randle, slipped into a tank. Instead, they traded for Derrick Rose. And thus began the chain of dominoes. Christopher Venegas. Inconsistency in all aspects is my biggest issue. Sure, and that's on the coach. Coach's job to stay consistent. And don't give me Mitchell Robinson's injury either. Like, the team has not. The team has lacked consistency, but again, I do think it is an interesting question. Like, how do you have consistency when you have, or how are you supposed to achieve consistency on offense when you have some very interestingly fitting offensive pieces? At the same time, if you would have told me after 11, I mean, their offensive rating went down after this game, but like, I'm sure even after this game, I'm sure they're still a top 20 offense. If you would have told me they were a top 20 offense after 11 games, I'd be like, okay, sign me up. The defensive inconsistency is what is a very big deal. And like, let's just call a spade a spade. Jalen Brunson was really harmful on that end of the floor tonight. Yes, the Randle plays where he just doesn't give a shit or is completely ignorant of his responsibility or is in no man's land for no reason helping off a guy. Like, those are far more infuriating than anything Brunson does, because Brunson's at least trying and like he's doing everything he can. But like, Brunson was bad on defense. It's okay to call that out. And that's an issue. Their defensive struggles are an issue. And yeah, I think the coach has to own that. Frank Sound, Mills and Perry addressing the public right now. They were 2-9, I think, after that game. So not quite 2-9 yet. Well, they're not going to be 2-9. Bad eyesight. What is this? This is Kevin Durant after the game. If I see a Knicks fan, I'm always going to give them a thumbs down or just give them some shit about being a Knicks fan. I hate him so much. I just hate him so much. Sorry. Bad eyesight. Because he wanted to go and just fuck around. And now he's gotten to fuck around for 3.5 years. He's gotten to do whatever the fuck he wants. I hope it was worth it to him. Bad eyesight. Sick of blaming the coach. At some point, your players have to try to play. Jalen Brunson needs to understand he's the best player on the team, but 30 is smiling. Listen, 30 got his numbers tonight. It's efficient, too. He was efficient. We'll just brush aside those turnovers though. Alex, I'm just gonna say it. IQ has been atrocious. He's been atrocious shooting the ball. He's been atrocious shooting the ball, and I will add that his inability to put any fear whatsoever into the heart of a defense when he's not making shots. Like, I know he had the one nice pass to Obi tonight, and that was great against a Nets bench unit that is still very bad. That's troubling. That's troubling for a small guard who is not your point guard. It's not great. Why are none of our young players developing at all? RJ and IQ both look like they are actively regressing. I mean, I think RJ's been fine. Andrew typed in the my personal chat, deep breath. I don't even know what he was saying that about. Probably the KD thing. Anyway, all right, RJ well, look, no, I think that's unfair because I think Obi why you give me that in the chat, Andrew? Because, am I not allowed to hate KD? KD sucks. Screw him. I hope that's okay. I hope that's allowed. As I look up and the Thunder are in overtime against the Bucks. Yeah. Okay. So Obi's progressed. I think Obi's progression over the course of his young career has been really nice. I think Emmanuel quickly has started off poorly this season, but I think he's made nice strides over his first 2 years. And I think RJ's definitely grown. I just think he's grown. I mean, he was one of the worst players in the NBA in his first year. His second year, he was more of an off-ball guy. Last year, he took on more responsibility, and he did it. He was able to do it. And now, this year he started off pretty slowly. I think he's looked good of late. I just he is what he is. He's a slightly probably sub all-star level player at his absolute peak. And I've said I think he'll make an all-star team or two. I still believe that. I still think he'll figure out a way to make an all-star team. I think he has to be on the right team. But yeah. So I think their development's okay. I'm not going to kill them for their development. Wombler, what's going on, Wombler? Absolute embarrassment. If we are going to play non-shooting centers 90% of the game, can we just real quick? Isaiah Hartenstein played, I believe, 15 minutes tonight. I say it all the time. I don't really care about in-game plus minus. I know that he was bad in the second half. He was a +1 in the first half, and they were down by 25 at the half. I think they need that extra juice on the offense. Jalen Brunson said after the game, it's not okay. They played harder than us. No, I would agree. That is not okay. Yeah. Anyway, so if we're going to play non-shooting centers 90% of the game, you would think we would have good rim protection. Need Grimes. Randle and Obi on D is bad. Yes, they are bad. Still want more Obi. Quick can't make shots. Nobody made shots tonight. Yeah, even in Obi and Randle lineups. Let me take another step back. Obi hitting shots this year from outside. I know he didn't hit anything. He only took 2 tonight and didn't hit them. That's kind of masked the fact that this team is still using him arguably less optimally than any team would reasonably use him, because you're still not playing into his greatest strength, which is he's the only big guy on the floor, and you have him out there with a dynamic guard who can shoot from deep. Now, granted, the Knicks don't have a guard who can pull up off the dribble from behind the arc effectively. So you probably can't use him as effectively as he can be used with this roster. Would have been fun to see him on the roster with Donovan Mitchell. That would have been fun. Oh, man. Alas. But yeah, you want to talk about optimal usage of Obi? Imagine if they had somehow gotten rid of Randle this summer, gotten rid of Randle this summer, and they had traded for Mitchell, and you run out lineups with Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Obi Toppin. You could even have Hartenstein out there. It's fine. Just put Hartenstein in the corner and pick a shooting wing. Talk about things that are hard to guard. So yeah, I mean, I want to see more of him, but with the way the roster is currently constructed, I'm not sure there's anything that they could do that's really ever that is gonna fully unlock him, which is kind of annoying. Because then at least if it's bad defense, it's like you have otherworldly offense. Right now with Obi and Randle, it's like, okay, that's good offense, but are you giving it back on the other? Juanon, what's going on, Juanon? I have as much faith in the Tibbs Randle combo as I did that Fizdale would get Moutier right. Yeah, I just want accountability. I want Randle to hold himself accountable, and I want Tibbs to hold him accountable. The scary thing is, what if Tibbs sees these plays where Randle is either blindly helping off? I forget who he helped off of in the first quarter, and the guy took a three and nailed it. It was a good shooter, or the not hustling back after a turnover, or the turnovers themselves, or playing way too deep with a guy in the corner and forgetting that the guy in the corner is there. All of the shit that drives us crazy. I wonder if Tibbs is just at this point, he's never going to get any better. This is who he is. And thus continues. That's part of the reason why he just continues running him out there as much as he does. And it's I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. At least if I leave him out there and he has a hot offensive night, maybe guys miss threes and then I win. That actually makes the most sense to me, of anything. Anyway, Forgotten NYC. Knicks not going anywhere as a franchise till they find a bona fide superstar top 10 player. It's been 20 years. Don't give me Melo. Sorry. Look, I don't want to get into a Melo thing. Carmelo Anthony finished third in MVP voting. Was Carmelo Anthony even a top 10 player in the year that he finished third in MVP voting? I think there's arguments that he was not. Donovan Mitchell, I hate to bring it back to Mitchell, but is Donovan Mitchell a bona fide superstar, top 10 player? No, I don't think so. Could Donovan Mitchell finish in top, at the very least, 5 in MVP voting this year? Absolutely. So whatever, top 10, top 15, even top 20. Yeah, they need it. And then I'm just very happy that the vast majority of this fan base at this point, because I think there was a lot of just build through the youth, just build it. If you build it, they will come. Yeah, we're fucking coming all over ourselves. If you need stars, the notion that you were going to build through with this roster and just, the kids, we have the kids, the kids are fine. No. I'm happy that has kind of dissipated, because that was always ridiculous. Josh B. Nights like tonight are why I don't understand why a lot of other fans are married to the players on this team. We are not building anything serious with the guys we have. Trade or tank. I get why people are married to the players on this team, because we've seen them be good. And you need a homegrown nucleus to some extent to win. You have to draft and develop. That's a necessity. It's not an option. It's a necessity. And if you had the right superstar around guys like Obi and Quickly and Grimes and RJ, Mitch, all of these guys, that would be great, and they'd be good, and they'd be a good team, and they'd be a fun team. But you need the straw that stirs the drink. It's just so freaking hard in the NBA to do it any other way. You're beating your head against the wall. And there are nights when Jalen Brunson has looked almost kind of sort of like that level of star. And it's been the most fun nights the Knicks have had this year. It's not a coincidence. Lunas. Hard to say purgatory when it's young guys who are going to get better that are doing this, let's hope the Suns only look at stats. Hashtag trade 30 for dead ass anything. Yeah, the young guys will get better, and they have gotten better. But stars are stars from day one. The Jimmy Butler situation was so rare, where he came into the league and he averaged whatever he averaged. He didn't get any time. And he averaged like 4 points a game or 3 points a game his rookie year. Like, that is so rare. And yeah, it'll happen once in a blue moon. And sometimes there's in between level developments, like a Des Bane came in and from day one, you knew that he shouldn't have been picked 30th in the draft, but you could have watched Des Bane his whole rookie year and been like, oh, it's a really nice player. He's never going to sniff an all-star team. And then he gets to a point where he's certainly going to sniff all-star teams. He's probably going to make an all-star team this year. But it's so rare where you get a guy that in his first year, you don't recognize immediately star potential, superstar potential. The conversation about whether Obi Toppin tops out as a 6-man or a 4th guy, or quickly tops out as a 6th guy or being generous 5th guy or it's 7th guy or 5th guy on a championship roster, or even RJ. You want to talk about RJ? Whether he tops out as a number 4 or a number 3. These are conversations that teams have to have when they have that number 1 or maybe the number 1 and the number 2 in place, and they have to fine tune things around those players. For us to sit here and be jovial about the kids and their ceilings and they're going to get back, okay, that's nice, which is the same reason I push back against everybody who's like, oh, if Tibbs had played the kids more last year, then Donovan Mitchell will be a Knick. 1, I don't think that's true. And 2, if any of the kids actually got the minutes that you wanted them to get and looked good enough to the point that they would have materially changed the Donovan Mitchell discussions, I would like anyone who thinks that to ask themselves, would you have been comfortable giving up that player for Donovan Mitchell? And I have a feeling the answer is no, because no one wanted to give up RJ Barrett for Donovan Mitchell, and RJ Barrett hadn't done that. It was all projection with RJ. I'm going off on tangents. I apologize. CJ Cervantes. Are we sure about Quickly? I still believe in him. I'll say that. Alex, fuck purgatory. Position yourself for Victor Scoot. Not going to argue with you there. Sean O'Rourke. Thank you, Sean, for the very generous contribution. We appreciate it. RJ was terrible. That's a little harsh. Not seeing any improvement from him whatsoever. He was at 63% at the rim coming into tonight. That's improvement. He deserves plenty of blame for this loss tonight, and I can't believe his free throws are still that much of an issue. I mean, just the 0 for 2 trips to the line, it feels like they just kill you when you go to the line and you miss both. And he had that happen twice tonight. It just hurts so much. I'm not going to put that much. I mean, put the same amount of blame on him as you put on Brunson, and Randle should probably get more of a pass than RJ. I think RJ was worse. Kevin Levitt, I'll take NBA purgatory over NBA hell, which is what this team was just 5 years ago. I think they were in NBA hell 5 years ago because they were being run by a group of incompetents. And that's hopeless. So yes, this is better than that. But I think the reason people are, desirous, is that a word? Andrew, you want to fact check that for me? Is desirous a word? I think it's a word. Are desirous of a potential tank is because I think there is some belief that this organization has righted the ship to a certain extent, and that like the owners, we don't talk about the owner anymore. Thank you. It is a word. Desirous is a word. That's great. We don't talk about the owner anymore. If you would have told me that 5 years ago, I would have been like, man, Knicks must be doing great. They have good, talented people in the front office. Put aside the coach, and they do have talent here. They have real talent. Again, these pieces would look a lot better if they were, next to a real star player. They just don't have the star, and this is a draft where you're going to get at least 2. You might get more than 2. So, what's the opportunity cost? That's the question. What's the opportunity cost of going into the tank this year? I don't know if there's a good answer to that. Juan Sex Fiddy Juan. That is a name. That is a name. Looking at what Hardy is doing for the Jazz, and it's painful to see the young, talented head coaches the Knicks passed up on. I would be very curious to see what Will Hardy would have done with Julius Randle this season. That's fair. They also have a really talented roster. That's the reality of the situation. They have a roster full of NBA players, and Lauri Markkanen is playing better than anyone on the Knicks. And that's for damn sure. So, yeah. TK, Julius Randle's stellar game, chucking every time he touches the ball. I love it. Woo! Hashtag trade 30. Everyone remember he's smiling, and that's all that matters, man. There's no love lost for this player by this fan base. Knicks fans are smart. TK, hush do. I think I'm slowly leaving the Quickly train. He's way too inconsistent for me. Good defender, but that's it. This team is so mid, it actually hurts. I'm telling you, don't sell your Quickly stock yet. I'm not as crazy about Quickly as some others are, but I still believe in him. And I also, though, still wonder if this summer has had an effect on him. I don't know. Guess we'll find out moving forward. Thanks for the contribution. Bad eyesight with one more. The value of Mitch to us is felt on nights like this. He's an incredible offensive rebounder, and he can't shoot, so he fits us like a glove. You miss the offensive rebounding. You certainly miss the rim protection. You miss those two things immensely. What you don't miss is his inability to set a screen and his inability to do anything on offense at all other than catch lobs. And, that's the other part. It's like Jalen Brunson is, he's short. It's harder for him to throw a lob. That's why RJ has always thrown the lobs to Mitch. It's another tough conversation with this team. It's like, I'm not saying Mitch is good. Mitch is good. Can he be utilized effectively enough on this roster? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Jacob Slavitt, what's going on, Jacob? What the hell is wrong with Rose and Grimes? Two different things, I think, but I'll finish the comment. Shame on Tibbs for not taking the ball out of 30's hands early when he was missing everything. We gave RJ a bag. Why aren't we going to him more? Hashtag make a trade. Julius hit a lot of shots in the first quarter. I don't have a problem. If Julius is open and he hits and he takes a 3, that's fine. You have to. I'm not saying it's great offense, but I'm not sure what better choice they have. If he's open, he has to shoot it. We gave RJ the bag. Why aren't we going to him more? He's not an efficient generator of offense. That's the only thing I could tell you. As far as Rose and Grimes, I talked about Grimes already. I don't know what the answer is there. Rose, you got me, man. I don't know. I wish I had a better answer. Mango Man, what's going on, Mango Man? IQ's too hesitant. He's hesitant because he knows he's not making shots right now. He's a catch and shoot guy. He needs to do that. I'll push back. He's a pull-up guy. His pull-up is where his value is. Catch and shoot, his numbers for catch and shoot were not good last year. His catch and shoot numbers as a rookie were good. But there's been a lot of discussion from people far smarter than me who know how to analyze shot form that talk about how he's a better pull-up shooter than he is a catch and shoot shooter. But he's not making anything right now. Anyway, limit shots off the bounce and let it fly off the catch. Less pressure equals less pressure. I understand that logically, yes, but again, the numbers don't say that. Hashtag Svi is better than Evan. Yeah, again, I feel bad, but I'm fine if I never have to watch Evan Fournier play another minute for this team. I didn't think it was that bad tonight. Marco G, what's going on, Marco G? Awful, but need to send Jew home to Dallas. I'm sure he'd waive that trade kicker and give them their pick back. We could take back Bullock and Bertans. I don't believe Bertans is playing for them this season. I should know that, and I don't. That's a bad job by me, not knowing who is in or out of an NBA rotation. I'll look it up right now. The notion that they would salary, I don't believe that they're going to salary dump Julius. I think they're going to want some sort of player for him. Yeah, I don't know if Bertans is injured right now, but he's not. He must be injured because he's not even listed on the roster. So whatever. I don't think they're going to salary dump him. Maybe if they keep losing. I think your best chance of a Julius Randle salary dump is if they keep losing. And even then, the notion that they would give a pick, I just don't see them giving a pick. Sean Hardy, what's going on, Sean? 5-6 doesn't bother me. How we are 5-6 bothers me. That's well said. Very well said. Forgotten NYC. IQ is just frank with confidence. Ooh, boy. That's rough. Hashtag change my mind. I actually think Quickly's a better defender than Frank. And Quickly does things on offense that Frank never even tried to do. Or maybe he tried, but he was too scared to do. But then again, that gets back to the confidence. But that's also underselling how big of a deal confidence is to a player. If you don't have confidence, you can't have a meaningful role in the league. So you might be right on a technicality, but I would push against the spirit of this point. Haitian Ferg, this game is a microcosm of poor management. This team is half pregnant. Thank you again for the contribution. All the contributions, Haitian. Very generous. No real direction. Vets holding down youth. Front office hoarding picks. Blow it up and rebuild. Again, we're in purgatory for real. Look, if they did it, I wouldn't mind it, and I'd be utterly shocked. They're not going to do it. They're just not. Not under this owner, at least. Maybe if he sells the team. Joseph J., what's going on, Joseph? Thank you for the contribution. New York is going to be 500 all year. At what point do you disregard record and fire Tibbs on philosophy alone? Can't defeat a basic zone defense after 4 years should tell you enough about Tibbs' system. Hashtag blow it up. I don't. So, if you're firing Tibbs on philosophy alone, you're firing him because the philosophy doesn't work. And by the most basic sense, a philosophy doesn't work if it doesn't lead you to win as many games as your talent says you should win. And I think, right or wrong, I would wager to guess that if you asked most coaches, front office people around the league, all of them would say, does New York on talent alone, not considering the coach, have 500 talent on their team? Are they a 500 team on talent alone? Or what they have on the roster? And I think most people would say either barely or no. So if they are going to be 500 all year, it's tough to say that Tibbs should get fired on philosophy, unless your point is that his philosophy should be to not worry about wins and losses so much and to take more chances because you never know what you might unearth and to play different guys more and yada, 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 which leads me to go back to the same thing I went back to towards the end of the summer, which is if you're going to want to fire Tibbs for those sorts of reasons, just blame the front office because they're running the show. Robert Cross. Hello, Robert. First time, long time. John, I want Randle off my team at any cost. I don't give a crap. Joining from the gym here. Hashtag 53 wins. Good for you getting your exercise in. I know there's a lot of teams or a lot of people that want Randle off the team. I get it. I'm one of them. Forgotten NYC. Sorry for all the negativity, LOL. I'm just fed up right now. I don't blame anybody for being fed up. That's why I started off by saying what I started off. 5-6. The vibes suck. The vibes are awful. It's awful. It's hard to feel good about this team right now. Nay, impossible. Zach Carr, what's going on, Zach? What's up, John? Appreciate the calming influence on my rage. I don't know that I'm being calm tonight, but missing Mitch has a pretty obvious effect on our defense. Yes, it does. Is Grimes healthy or what? I wish I knew the answer to that question, Zach. Could have used his perimeter defense earlier in games like this. Yeah, but like again, the notion that Grimes is going to be your panacea is tough. Is tough. He'll help. He'll definitely help. RJ after the game. Over the course of 82 games, a game like this is going to happen, but we can't make this a habit. That's fair. Christian Cruz, the young guys are exactly who they are. Ultimately, it's on management and coaching. It's hard to win with guys who shoot 40% from the field. By that logic alone, I don't know how much it could be on coaching, but I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, what are they? What are they? It'd be nice if the front office had an honest moment with itself. Andrew Chen, what's going on, Andrew? Thank you for the contribution. Bad eyesight with one more. Sources confirm 30 on the Knicks is not, nor will he ever be as good as number 7 on Brooklyn. Someone let him know so we can stop the pissing contest every time he plays Brooklyn. There's his confidence. Julius Randle, just Andrea Bargnani with confidence. Tomorrow on First Take. No, sorry. Robert Cross. First time, long time, John. I feel IQ is stuck between being a 1 or a 2. He's best as a loose goose. I'd never heard that term before. By the way, it's cheesesteak, not cheesesteak. Listen, you wrote cheesesteak. I didn't know what the hell cheesesteak was or cheesesteak was. Cheesesteak, that makes more sense. I could go for a cheesesteak right now. Is IQ stuck being a 1 or a 2? Like, that's making apologies to me. That's making apologies. Go out there and fucking play. Like, we're not in a league anymore where there's 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. It's like this league is more fluid than anything. Now, you want to tell me he's unsure of whether he should pass or shoot. I don't know. He seems like he has good shots that he's passing up. And the good shots that he has that he takes, he's missing. I don't know what to do with that. I think he's just not playing well. He's not hitting shots. Andrew Chan with, here's his comment. Do you think the Knicks tighten up when they play the Nets? No, because they went up by 28 on this team last year. And I think they've played them good and hard over the last couple seasons. So no, I don't think so. Tonight, I don't know what tonight. Tonight was an abomination. I don't know what tonight was. I asked because the last time they beat them was the Sunday Kobe died a long time ago. They haven't won games, but I don't know that they should have won any of the games that they lost, other than the obvious one, which was the when they were up by 28 last year. Robert Cross with another one. It is fair and reasonable. I'm going to disagree with you, John. Randle is a cancer. Oof. Tibbs has enabled him. We don't know how good the kids are. Hashtag 53 wins. Okay, to each their own. You feel like you don't know how good the kids are. I feel like I have a pretty good idea of how good the kids are, with the exception of Obi and a particular type of offense that we have not seen yet. Randle being a cancer? I don't know, man. I mean, a cancer is someone I think his teammates don't like. I think Julius's teammates like him. I think his play could be cancerous. It's the best I could do. Forgotten NYC. Question for you and AC. Do the Lakers eventually blow it up? Andrew, you want to hop on? We're at the hour mark anyway, so you might as well hop on for a sec.
Andrew hopping on for a sec.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm making it through. You tell me, how am I doing?
So I was gonna save this. We have a couple things. Let me process this. So first of all, everybody watching, you're amazing. The super chats are still rolling in for a game. The Knicks were down by double digits almost the entire game and 20 plus for almost the entire second half.
Oh,
So
I just saw your chat.
Yeah, I was gonna come up at the very end and listen. This is the problem with the private chat. It's not easily seen.
I just don't look at it.
Well, that too. That's why it's not easily seen. I should just text you. Know your audience. Like when Tibbs is like, I'm gonna keep doing the same thing. He finally figured out like some people are good at some things. You are not good at reading the private chat. You do usually read your phone. I should learn who my players are. Anyway, so my deep breath for you when I told you deep breath, was when you were going after KD. Just we're all on edge tonight, making sure we don't say anything we regret that could get clipped.
There's nothing I could say about KD that I would regret.
See, you say that, but then the rest of us at KFS, like the worst thing that I envision is like you getting clipped and then Katie seeing it and quote tweeting you. And then we're like getting called out by NBA Twitter.
I don't like him, Andrew.
I don't like him as a basketball player either. Well, actually, I love him as a basketball player.
It has nothing to do with him as a basketball player. I don't like him as a person.
He's not allowed to talk shit tonight. Like he kicked our teeth in and ran our team off the floor.
He's one of the 10 most talented basketball players of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He can say whatever he wants. I just don't like him. That's all.
That's fine. I don't like that he played so well. Then my team didn't show up tonight. I take the trash talk with like when you win, you can talk shit. You know. Okay. Also had a lengthy response to you with Carmelo Anthony not being a top 10 player of the year. He was third in MVP. I'd argue he was a top 10 player every year. The all NBA team would reflect that. I know you and your fancy stats like to say Melo's not because all people with fancy stats say is not, but I don't think a player that finishes top 3 in MVP isn't in the top 10. And then you said that people were coming on themselves, and I can say it now because you already said it. And I was like, you know what? Just gonna delete all of this. Never mind.
I thought that was a funny joke.
It was, but it stopped me in my tracks. I was in rage keyboard mode, and then you said that. I was like, you know what? Now that's what I'd be responding to. So
I'm happy you did that. Did the Lakers eventually blow it up, Andrew?
No.
I say no also.
What does blow it up mean?
Trade AD for
they have
picks.
Nobody that anybody wants other than LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook's expiring contract.
Yeah, I don't think they blow it up.
Like blow it up might be the trade. You know what I would say? You and Jeremy haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. There's potential for you guys to talk about it Sunday. If the Knicks lose the next 2, I want no part of including their 2023 pick for AD. But the Knicks will get mentioned in AD trade talk if AD becomes available. Andrew, I think the Lakers, if anything, will look to get better because they don't have control over their pick this year, and like LeBron James' clock is ticking. Although he's actually been pretty bad this year.
If the Knicks lose their next 2 games, their 2023 draft pick becomes the most valuable asset the franchise has had since the RJ pick.
Yes. I agree. But that's why when people will connect the Knicks to AD trades, I would use caution and say, use caution and realize what that 2023 pick is.
I'm writing about it this week, so
okay, good.
All right, back to our super chats. Thank you, Andrew. If you want to hang out, love that.
I will hang out. Thank you, everybody, for all your generosity tonight. I know they stink.
Busy, what's going on, Busy? Quickly turning into Frank Ntilikina before our eyes. Wow, if you would have asked me before this started, what do you think is not going to happen? I would have been like multiple super chats comparing Emmanuel quickly to Frank Ntilikina.
See, I threw a stray at Frank this morning on Twitter.
I saw
which was not intended a shot at Frank. I thought we were able to be honest about the Frank Ntilikina experience, but apparently we're not. But I compared one of his stat sheets to how the GOP did last night, or I guess this midterm cycle, and people seem to like that. But also, people seem to be like, not my boy Frank. Speaking of the election,
Kevin Danishevsky, random election basketball thought. David Axelrod looks like Zach Lowe a little bit. Also, I know I wasn't there tonight, but OBJ can be your third best guy at his peak.
I'm hoping he means Obi.
It wasn't there. Yeah, he means Obi can be your third best guy at his peak. I don't know. I don't know how to assess Obi Toppin moving forward. I still don't. He's the guy. He is the guy who I most don't know what he is or could be in a certain roster. That's all.
I also don't know how Odell Beckham Jr. would do on the Knicks.
That'd be an interesting one.
Throwing that out.
Thanks, Kevin. Pluckster. Accountability for Leon. What's the improvement plan? 2 disgruntled stars at bargain prices? Yes, basically. That's the plan. That's the plan. A miracle with the 14th pick? Yeah, that's the plan, baby. Time to fish or cut bait. Listen, when the day he was hired, it was transparent why they hired him and not a basketball man. And granted, good job by him bringing on smart basketball people. He did a great job of that. At the same time, his lead basketball decision maker, the guy who makes the real basketball decisions about like basketball players, is, I think, Worldwide Wes. Because it's not Brock Aller, it's not Walt Perrin. Who am I missing?
It's not Scott Perry.
Is that any better?
I'm just saying it's not Scott. That's who I think is making the basketball decisions.
Or is it Tibbs?
If it is, then we're in.
Like the fact that we have to sit here and ask these questions.
It's not Tibbs. It can't be. Donovan Mitchell would be a Knick if it was Tibbs.
It's not great right now. Herbie, what's going on, Herbie? At what point do we move on from Tibbs? I'm one of the few that believe we have the ability to play better than what we've shown. I mean, I don't believe that, which is why it's a more complicated question for me about when you move on from Tibbs. That said, I've written it already this season. I'll say it again. I don't really they could fire Tibbs tomorrow, and I'd be like, okay, great, whatever. And part of me would be happy because I think, and again, this is where a lot of people would disagree vehemently with this take. I think the chances that they would go into the tank would increase exponentially if they fired Tom Thibodeau. Other people would think that their chances of winning 50 games would increase exponentially if they fired Tom Thibodeau. Maybe we'll find out.
This team becomes more watchable not if Tibbs gets fired, if they trade Randle.
So I was about to say, that's the thing that I think a lot of people think, which is that the team gets more watchable. You get more watchable when you are playing more fun basketball, and you're playing more fun basketball when the ball goes in the hole more, and the ball goes in the hole more when you have better players or players that are just hitting shots. And like, I'm sorry, I can't get behind the notion that there's some offensive mastermind out there who's going to come in and it's still some sort of offense where, it's like going to mask the fact that this team has, on nights like this, nobody that could get a defense to pay attention to them in any meaningful way.
So Hush Dude's got 2. I'm going to put the first one up, just acknowledge it. And then he asked like the same question a little bit later. So
okay,
we'll just read the first one.
Hush, is Tibbs on the clock? I don't think so.
So we just acknowledge it because he asked the same question as Tibbs on the clock and then other things. So we could skip through when he gets to his next one. I'm going to put up the next one.
Okay. Well, this is from Wombler.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunity cost of tanking equals less aggravation. First year, I'm really for it.
Especially since what the prize is of the tanking.
Yeah, like I think the opportunity cost of tanking, if we're being real, is like, okay, let's say they maximize this roster and they start playing more consistently and they get really good at the defense, better at the defense, and Grimes comes back, he looks good, and guys start hitting more shots, are still not hitting threes, still one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league, even after the Minnesota game, especially after tonight. And they win 45 games, and Jalen Brunson looks like a sub-level all-star, and Julius Randle keeps hitting threes all year. And then they, like, put a scare into a team in the first round of the playoffs, and then you're like, you talk yourself into we're 1 star away if it's the right star. If they go into the tank, and like start shutting guys down and like just like don't look good, that scenario goes off the table. Now, you may think that that scenario is poppycock, to which I would not necessarily disagree with you. But that is the opportunity cost. Dragon Thorn X. What's going on, Dragon Thorn? People saying we lost this game just because we don't have Mitch is being delusional. I hope nobody's saying that.
I really hope no one's saying that.
CT Pittman, once trade day begins, who's the first call John Macri makes if he was the GM? Nobody wants me to be the GM of this team. And what are you offering?
Group text. Every GM who wants Randle. That's not
getting Randle off your team.
I'm not saying it would. I'm just saying that's the deal. It's about Randle, and I guess you would go to Phoenix first. You'd see where Charlotte is in the standings. You check in with the Lakers. You check in with Dallas. You check in with all the candidates we went through this summer.
I can't. Me personally, in this, I think he could have a nice rest of the year and nice career. I don't see a path forward where Julius Randle being on this team nets more benefits than it does drawbacks. So yes, I am calling, I guess, Phoenix first.
Yeah. That'd be mine too.
Philly Jordan, thanks for contribution. Lunas, full faith with RJ. I feel like every year it's the same with convo.
What the hell combo?
Oh, what the hell combo with him? First part of the last 3 seasons, then he has crazy second halves, crazy numbers second halves. Just frustrating. It's still a thing. I mean, it's not just it's he started slowly. It's not just that. It's not just the slow starts. He's a very limited player. He does one thing on offense really well. Or 2 things on offense really well, potentially. Hitting spot up threes, which I still think he can be very good at, and driving the lane. And then when you factor in the fact that the playmaking on those drives, using the attention you get to make plays for your teammates and to open up good looks for your teammates is still something in year 4. That's one aspect of his game that I don't know that we've gotten any better at, and then just when you think he's making progress around the rim, he has nights like tonight where it's just the touch is just not there at all. That's what's frustrating, Hush with another one.
Hush's full comment.
Okay. Is Tibbs on the clock now? It sucks that his last stint, he had to coach a player like Julius Randle. I wonder how much the front office gives him before making the move. I mean, he's not getting fired until, I don't know. I mean, I say like he's not getting fired till Christmas, and then if the thing goes sideways enough, who the hell knows? I don't think he's on the clock yet.
I would tell everybody asking that question to buckle up. That I don't think this front office is going to just fire Tom Thibodeau and put all of the spotlight and heat on them. In a year that this roster, I'm with you that I don't think this team is marginally better with him or without him as the coach. I also, even if there's a minor uptick, this team, like you've said it, the ceiling isn't different. I also just don't think, we've seen what the last week of Obi playing a little more, quickly playing a little more,
If you are blaming the coach because you think the coach is holding back the team from being better, I don't think there is a world where you could not blame the front office equally as much.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the front office is sitting there and they are thinking, man, I think we could be a better team if we just got, say what Johnny Bryant, Quinn Snyder, name a coach, whatever. I really think we could be I really think these pieces could come together under this other guy. Then them not making the move is malpractice. The alternative scenario, which I think you just suggested, Andrew, is that they're looking at this and be like, well, we don't think it's going to get better under the coach. So we might as well let this guy go out there and deal with this shit and take all of the nonsense and then we'll fire him at the end of the year and we'll give our next coach a clean slate and maybe make some moves to help him further and maybe give him a star player.
The next question actually falls into my thoughts about the front office. Forgotten NYC. Okay.
Forgotten NYC. Do you think a panic trade happens if they fall off?
I think that's the move they make way before they fire the coach.
Yeah, I wrote it at the end of a newsletter a week within the last week. Like Fournier for Eric Gordon, the money works out.
That's not the panic trade.
What is the panic trade?
Anthony Davis.
Oh my God!
All the picks, like the treasure chest goes out for Anthony Davis. And look, I defended. I'll push back on anybody that says like Anthony Davis isn't good because I think he is. If all of that for a guy that's clearly a number 2 now and that is clearly not going to play more than 55 to 60 games in a season is just it's a panic trade. It's like, well, we didn't get the star this summer, so we're going to get one 5 years older that doesn't play full season.
I don't think they would do it. I don't think they would do it.
You don't?
That would be such a bad decision.
It would.
That would be such a bad decision at the price that it would cost.
And then they would give like Tibbs because like again 80s numbers and like every time I watch the Lakers, their defense is isn't the issue. It's the offense. Like he just can't stretch the floor. He's like a very good.
You're not running player. You're not running your offense through Anthony Davis.
You're not.
He's not Nikola Jokic.
It would be a Brunson Davis combo, but regardless,
that's not. And he also doesn't want to play center. He's bitching and moaning about playing center with the Lakers. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the panic trade. I think the panic trade is like Evan Fournier and a young player and a protected pick, any young player for like someone like Eric Gordon.
That's just reshuffling chairs. Like,
yeah, I think that's what they would do.
That's not a panic trade to me. Like a panic trade is thinking you're getting a ticket off the Titanic when really you're just going onto a lifeboat with holes.
We'll see. Gem Ally, what's going on? Or Gem Ali? No, Ali. I don't know, something. Gem Ali, let's say that. Just came back from the game. As sorry as we played, I'm so happy to be a fan of our team. Barclays is not an arena. It is a goddamn casket. 4 quarters of cringy PR, no noise, Z's fest. It's good. I'm happy about that. I don't particularly care for the Barclays Center. Thank you for the contribution, by the way.
How many times have you been?
2 or 3, probably.
You know, I've never been.
You should go. It's an experience.
Is it?
Yeah.
What should I go for? A Knicks game or just a Nets game against?
No, go like when the Nets play some other team.
Okay. Next time I have a night off. That's a lie. I'm saving for a wedding. I'm not doing that.
Greg Film Stuff. Thank you for the very generous contribution, Greg. The only players I would keep going forward are RJ, Grimes, Obi, Mitch, and Brunson. I don't need RJ to be a star, but I was expecting the kid that ended last season. Where's the confidence? RJ should be mirroring Detroit's Bay. Well, Bay is a 3-and-D sort of player. I mean, I think, if anything, RJ, like, in a perfect world, it's funny because he's playing next to the guy that was drafted ahead of RJ, but in a perfect world, RJ is Desmond Bane. Now, RJ is not the defender Desmond Bane is, and he never will be, I don't think, but that's the world that I think I would love RJ Barrett to inhabit the most. The kid that ended last season took a ton of shots and he didn't make a lot of them, but he took enough of them that he got nice numbers out of it. If you trade Randle, he goes back to that level of usage, which I think for the rest of this season, at least, probably makes sense.
See what you got.
Yeah.
Last one.
All right, Sean. Thank you, Sean. Anthony Davis is absolutely the panic trade, and this front office would absolutely do it. They would say, hey, we got a star, and enough fans would buy it. They wouldn't be buying it when Anthony Davis is sitting on the sidelines and even when he's playing. Like, I don't even know. I don't.
But what did you just say? They wouldn't buy it when he gets hurt. When he the actual in the moment trade is the headline. The Knicks got Anthony Davis, which is all they'd be going for. Switching all the PR of how bad the season has gone to the Knicks got Anthony Davis. That's all it is. That's why it's a panic trade, not a sensible trade to be marginally better. It's a panic trade.
I don't think the Knicks are. I don't think the Knicks are going to be the team. I don't think the Lakers are going to trade him.
I can see that. Now, so what is going on over there, John?
I don't know. It's appropriate that is when we're talking about the Knicks trading for Anthony Davis. These are the noises that are.
There would be a red alert, yes, because John would be at the top of his apartment building if they traded Anthony Davis and traded for Anthony Davis, and it's all the picks, all the assets, you name it. This whole thing stemmed. Thank you, Bill Simmons, from the last 30 minutes of the pod from Sunday, when him and Kevin O'Connor, apparently Bill has heard the plan B for the Lakers if they can't find the right trade for Russ is to trade AD. And they both concluded that it would be the Knicks because they have the treasure chest and they're looking to get a star clearly.
But their purpose in doing so could not possibly be to win games this year.
I think they would look at it, depending on what players go out, that you got Jalen Brunson, you got Anthony Davis.
No, the Lakers.
Oh, the Lakers? You could then pivot. It would be to win games this year. You're right. But you get out from under the AD contract. Russ walks this offseason.
Hold on. The AD contract has one more year on it, and then he has a player option.
Right.
He's 29 this year, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that means when he opts out of that player option, he's going to be approaching 31 or will have just turned 31. He's Anthony fucking Davis. Unless he suffers a catastrophic leg injury, he is going to get a max contract. So the notion that it's not about getting out under the contract, he's declining the player option and he's going to be a free agent in 2024. So it's not about getting out from under the contract. It's about either making your team better today or completely punting on the present for the most part and just trying to acquire as many picks as you can acquire that you think will turn into something at a later point in time. And at that point, then you're also essentially, I think, trading LeBron James this summer. Because what else are you doing?
So this is where Kevin O'Connor, I think he wasn't thinking through it clearly. He said, you get all the picks from the Knicks, you turn them all around to get Kevin Durant. And you have
That's
LeBron.
Fucking nonsense. That's not going to happen.
I'm just saying what the logic would be. Or like you said, then you're going full rebuild and you're trading LeBron. Then you have all the picks from AD and all the picks from LeBron.
Yeah, that's ringer nonsense. I mean, I don't, unless it's going to be a LeBron not farewell season, but like LeBron farewell season in LA. But like, again, he's a player option. So are they going to let LeBron James walk? Are they going to try to go spend in 2024? I guess that's a possibility. Are they trading AD just to open up cap space and do what this summer with what players that are available? Like, what are you doing if you're the Lakers? You're trading Anthony Davis. It just doesn't make sense.
All of this started because of that conversation, John. That Anthony Davis would be available.
I get it if you're just punting on everything and you're recalibrating your franchise and so what? LeBron James is here right now. Like, we'll figure that out later. I don't know.
I think you also gotta recognize, as much as we get on the Knicks front office, the Lakers front office rivals them in if this exact same front office was in Sacramento, then would have gotten fired a while ago. But LeBron wanted to live in Brentwood, so he bailed out a lot of people over there, and then they had the assets to go trade because they got a lot of lottery luck to go trade for Anthony Davis and got one season out of it. And just about every move they've made since that one season has been a backbreaker, letting Caruso walk, trading for Russ, trading Kuzma even. These are all pieces that would be on, that would be on a team that's looking to compete every year.
Man, I mean, if they got I guess there's a world if they got enough picks and they got a bunch of young players and it was basically just Derrick Rose's salary plus the set, but you can't even get up high enough of salaries for young players. My point is like if the Lakers are looking at it like we're clearing max space this summer, but again, there's no max player who they're going to go after this summer. So really, it's about the summer of 2024. So like, there's no world where they're not trading AD and at least somewhat punting on not only this year but next year. And so if you're doing that, LeBron James in 2024 is entering his age what season? 41 or 40 or something?
2024? He is 39 years old.
That's my point.
So he'd be entering his 39, 40 years old.
Yeah, so that's my point. Is if you're trading Anthony Davis, you are not only punting on this year. I think you're punting on next year too. I don't see a world where that is not the case.
I think the logic of it in Lakerland is you get enough picks, you could trade for Kevin Durant, and then you have cap space to fill out the rest of from the Russ leaving to fill out the rest of the roster.
If the Knicks picks could get Kevin Durant,
then the Knicks should get Kevin Durant.
The Knicks will trade for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that's the other part of this. As far as Pluxter's comment is concerned, Cat is the panic trade. Kentucky connection.
I agree. I could see more for a number of reasons, but I don't think that happens until the summer.
And Anthony Davis is also a Kentucky connection, by the way, Pluxter. And then Jem Ali, one more. Go ahead.
No one on this roster is off the table. None are even top 30 in the league. There's an argument that none are top 40 in the league, if not more. Deadline's the fork in the road, sell off and tank or panic trade.
I know which one I would choose. Guys, before we officially log off for the night, shout out to one commenter. Never does a super chat, so he never gets acknowledged because we never put his stuff up. There's a guy named David Smith who only comments in all caps. It's literally someone yelling at a cloud at this point. It's never fully coherent, but I personally enjoy it. I know it enjoys some people. I think if you just in your mind imagine someone yelling it,
what is he yelling?
It would make it okay. Andrew comparing Lakers front office to Knicks front office is incompetent. Lakers going nowhere with LeBron. That window is closed. Lakers won a championship in 2020.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. I got the gist.
You see what I'm saying? Like, just imagine someone just yelling at their computer.
Maybe he doesn't know what the caps lock button is.
It's so funny in my head. So it never bothers me because I read it in all caps. Fantastic. So that anybody that gets annoyed by him spamming all caps. Because he's like, wants to fire Tibbs, but it's always in my head like, Tom Thibodeau is not a good coach. Fire Tom Thibodeau. Like, that's how I picture it. So
that's how you should picture.
Thank you, David Smith. Go ahead, John.
Yes, thank you, David Smith. Thank you, Andrew Claudio. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in after this awful performance and sticking with us if you're still here for the whole time. Don't forget, nights like this are made much better if you play some wagers and at least could leave the night with some winnings. Download the WynnBet app or visit www.wynnbet.com. That's www.wynnbet.com to start winning. Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet $100 and win $100. Download, bet, win. Love it. Friday, Andrew, the one and only GMAC, is hosting the post game because I'm going to be in Lake George for a wedding.
My parents' honeymoon was in Lake George. They were balling on a budget, so they had to stay local. But
okay,
yeah, they went upstate.
Yeah, I'll be doing that drive tomorrow night, so wish me luck. And then I'll be catching the game, I guess, at some point on Saturday because I think I will be like at the wedding as it is going on. Hopefully it's a blowout and. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. Hopefully it's a blowout. All right. This was fun. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.